Good afternoon, everybody. It is 2 o'clock on the 19th of February, 2026. This is the State Building Code Council Legislative Committee meeting. Let's start out with roll call, please.
Tom Handy,
Here.
Todd Bayreuther,
Here.
Jay Arnold, Ben O'Mara, I see Ben, but I don't hear him.
Sorry, I am here. I was
Okay.
getting a call.
Thank you. Roger Haringa,
I'm here.
Shell Anderson, Angela Hott.
Here.
And Representative Alex Roman. We do have a quorum.
Yeah, it looks like Jay just
Jay's
popped
here.
on.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, Jay Arnold's here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anybody from the public who'd wish to introduce themselves? Patrick?
Yes, thank you. This is Patrick Hanks with the Building Industry Association of Washington.
Hello, Patrick. Tim?
Tim Atterbury, Associated General Contractors of Washington.
All right. Anybody else? See no more hands. Next on the agenda then is to review and approve the agenda. That is an action item.
I
Move
move that
approval.
we approve the agenda as shown on the screen.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the agenda as shown. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries. And I'll just say also for the record here, if since we're a small group, as I usually try and do here in this group, if you have something you want to say in the public, just raise your hand at any time and you'll be recognized. So that way I won't forget to call on public comment. So anyway, review and approve the minutes from February 12th is next. Short little one pager.
This is Todd. I move to approve.
Angela, second.
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes from February 12th. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next on the agenda then is the legislative update. We've kind of switched houses here. And so.
All righty. Well, I'll kick it off reviewing this one. So welcome to week 7 of the short session this year. To recap kind of the last week, the House of Origin cutoff has passed. That was 5 p.m. on Tuesday the 17th. Just an update on what the next cutoffs will be in their dates. Coming up here on the 25th is the opposite house policy cutoff date. The fiscal cutoff for the opposite house is March 2nd, and then the opposite house final cutoff is the 6th of March, and then sine die is on the 12th of March. And so we're working through opposite houses, just like Tom mentioned. And right now, we don't have any of our high priority or even medium priority bills going up for public hearings in the next week. We've got plenty of executive sessions happening, but no hearings that I believe we're going to want to go to. And then just a quick recap, we have 8 more bills that have come off of our priority lists and have moved to the dead section here. So in the high priority bills, we had, I believe, 2 bills pop down there. We had HB 1254, the Wildland Urban Interface bill, and then also SHB 2381, the Low Rise Residential Buildings bill. And I do believe that one is coming to us in a different I'm gonna stop talking because I am gonna say stuff that's not accurate there. But we had those two bills pop off of our high priority list. Our medium priority list, we have scissor stairs remaining on there. From the medium priority list, we had the emergency meetings one, which wasn't one that we were too concerned with. And then, oh, sorry, that's not right. We had the other scissor stairs bill pop off of there, and the emergency meetings was one of our low priority bills. Um, Within our low priority bills categories, we have a few left in here. We have some movement on 5156 and 6026. They've moved into the House Housing and House Local Government Committees. For the 5156, this one's asking us to develop some elevator standards. Well, not elevator standards, elevator provisions for the up to 6-story 24 unit buildings. And so believe that would be targeted for the new appendix that we've been working on. These other two, they're low priority, but they don't have any direct impact for SBCC at the moment. And then moving to our monitoring bills, we've had several of these move to the opposite House appropriate committees. The ones here that have hearings upcoming this week, we have 1859, the Housing and Development and Religious Organizations. This one seeks to allow a little bit of increased density when a certain percentage of housing is designated towards low-income housing. Then the wildfire risk models one has got a hearing as well. This one has more to do with wildfire risk and insurance more than wildfire risk maps or the WUI code directly. But we've been keeping an eye on it to make sure that any changes that occur in there, if they bring impact to SBCC, that we are aware of them. So we see some movement there, and we have 2 hearings in the upcoming week. And other than that, we just have a list of dead bills here, and not a lot of action that I'm anticipating from the council coming up in the next week. And so that's my recap for what we have going right now, and I'll open it up to the committee to discuss as they see fit. Not
Is
everybody all at
nobody
once.
saying fit? Go ahead, Todd.
Well, let's talk about kid homes. So, Angela, thank you for picking up the IBC tag. So, Angela, Roger, and I were on that earlier today, and they're executing on the both the minimum dwelling unit size and then the emergency shelter. And as a recap, if I tell this story correctly, the emergency shelter path is one condition where you have an existing building and how do you put shelter beds and provisions for life safety and so forth in that. And then the second one is how do you when enabled by an emergency declaration or determination by the city, do you allow then what are being called what's
Like
the term
shelter
for the
villages,
cabins?
maybe, or
Yeah,
emergency sleeping cabins. Yeah.
sleeping cabins. Um, and the more I say, think about, and that's going well, it seems to me. And the more I think about what this other bill is asking is kind of the difference between that temporary emergency situation versus something that is sitting on a permanent foundation. It kind of reminds me of like in classrooms where you have modular classrooms and you can have portables, which are sitting on the asphalt, not the ideal situation, but sometimes necessary versus permanent sitting on a foundation. And so I started to think about how we can create that next spectrum of this kid home, because that's one of the problems that the emergency shelters is trying to solve is that they're not always modular, which means they don't fall under labor and industry. They are assemblies that come together on site. And this one's asking kind of a similar one, but at the scale of 800 square feet with the intention that it's permanent, I think. So, and we have to go fast on this. So I think we would want to jump on it right away this summer. So just giving a background to everyone and the way I'm thinking about it. Thank you.
Angela?
Sorry, didn't mean to put my hand up.
Oh. All right. I don't see any activity in the attendees list. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about? Want to do? Todd, go ahead.
Well, I'll cover a couple more. So it seems like that scissor stair is moving through. To my memory, it asked for next code cycle, but Destin made a comment that it's targeting the single X, and I did see Senator Solomon say that particularly, but that's not what the bill says necessarily. So again, it's next code cycle, but if there's anything we can do now to kind of think about how to prepare that single exit to receive that, or if we think it belongs in the base code. I guess I was assuming it is in the base code, but I don't know what other people are thinking there.
May I?
Of course.
Todd, I think any reference to single exit is not appropriate because by definition, a scissor stair is two stairs. There are two exits.
Roger, I'm sorry to interrupt. I did say scissor stair. I meant the small elevator. So thank you for catching me first of all, but I didn't want you to go down the path there. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that was a scissor stair is two exits, not a single exit.
Okay, so now that I've created confusion, may I re-ask the question? Are others, let's go to the small elevator. Is anyone else thinking that that was specifically targeting the single exit appendix, or is that in the base code? I was thinking it was in the base code. I definitely think scissor stairs is in the base code.
I will, I guess maybe amend my comment a little bit to say that the bill language doesn't reference a single stair appendix or anything like that. What it does reference, though, is up to 6 stories with 24 units. And that's probably where maybe the confusion, at least for my statement, is coming from. So if it doesn't specifically mention the single stair appendix, then I would recharacterize my statement to say it is more targeted towards the main body of the code, but applicable to more just the single stair typology that we've been working with. And so when I read 24 units, 6 stories, my mind automatically goes to single exit appendix we've been working on.
Coincidental. Todd?
Well, you did say that, but I wasn't referencing that, Dustin. Senator Solomon said that yesterday.
Oh,
to the local government committee that he thinks this is targeting. So we just should probably ask a clarifying question, or we should inform that where we think it belongs anyway. Maybe it belongs in the base code with the guardrails that it's up to 6 stories, unless we think it goes higher, or we need to prepare the single exit to receive that. I don't know that that's hard, but I don't think it asked for this code cycle, so technically that could be amended in the 2027.
that's my view of it.
Angela?
Yeah, I guess I don't see how it has anything to do with single exit. Personally, I mean, a single exit is an exit, an elevator is not an exit.
And Angela, if I may, Chair, I agree, Angela. I just I think we should ask the bill sponsor what his intent was.
Do you have the opportunity to do that?
I'm not sure it's necessary. I think he said that to the committee yesterday, so it would be good for us to know.
Roger?
I agree. I mean, this is one where I would, if we can ask a question and make sure we understand that the bill gets the intent of the bill and make sure that the wording is correct. So what is the intent? I know that the single exit, we have basically not said anything about elevators. They're not required. I want to make sure I don't get these mixed up with the multiplex. An elevator is not required. Angela has her hand up. She may be correcting me. If you choose to do an elevator, then you have to meet the code requirements, the building code requirements. So we've been relatively silent on elevators. It's just per the code. And it's not necessarily, it is not required. We are not requiring it as part of the single exit. Angela, correct me if I'm wrong.
Elevators are an accessibility requirement. They don't have anything to do with the number of exits required. Again, they're not part of the exiting system until you reach a certain height, 5 stories, I believe, and then they have to become part of the accessible means of egress. But which bill, can you pull the bill up for me, please, Dustin?
It is 5156. Give me 1 second. I'll pop it
Yeah,
up on the
because
screen.
putting elevators into the single exit would have no bearing. I mean, it would basically add additional cost for no reason because again, your stairs are your accessible means of egress. Your elevators become required due to Chapter 11, ANSI, things like that. So, I mean, so I'm not sure why the bill sponsor or whoever would intend for it to have anything to do with single exit unless he's planning on requiring an elevator in those, which then would be a second exit in theory. But this is small elevators, right?
Correct. They're targeting smaller than stretcher car size elevators.
Right, which targets our state amendment is what it does, because it's a Washington state amendment that has the requirement for all required elevators to be stretcher size. So again, this would have to be in base code. If they're intending it to somehow affect single exit, they're thoroughly confused.
Yeah, because it seems to me too, like the single exit was just a pathway to make housing more affordable by not requiring multiple exits in that structure, and adding an elevator and requiring one would kind of defeat that whole purpose. Todd?
Okay, seems like we're all in agreement then. Our interpretation is that if someone took the option of doing it in the single exit provisions, they would trigger back to Chapter 11, right? And these provisions would be in there to allow up to 6 stories with the small elevator. It's not mandated. It's just if they choose to, this would allow them to do the small elevator.
Another part of this bill that we're not talking about is what Section 2 is asking us to do. This one's asking us to, by my reading, on an ongoing basis, with each code update, to review requirements for elevator hoistway opening protection and two-way visual emergency communications devices, and make a determination whether or not the cost versus safety balance is there. And so it requires the creation of a new tag. There's no expiration date contained in this section, and I don't see it as a huge lift to do that, but it's, a specific tag is being asked to be created. And since there's no expiration date, I see it as an ongoing task each code cycle.
Roger?
Yeah, Justin, I didn't read that either, but I will offer my opinion. I understand that they would like a tag to address this, but why would we be required by law to create a separate tag? Couldn't this information that they're asking us to do be dealt with by the building code tag, or I guess I'm a little bit, I don't know if it's my personal opinion is I'd be opposed to the legislature telling us that thou shalt create a new tag on an ongoing basis, when we already have tags. It just seems like more meetings, more work, when really this could be worked in my opinion, into an existing tag.
I do feel though an existing tag could review this, but I guess where that kind of differs is when they start telling us the composition of the tags as well. And so we do cover a lot of these with some of our existing membership, but I believe there's a little bit of character here that's not necessarily included in the IBC tag specifically. And so that's where I was coming up with a new tag that couldn't be handled by something already in existence.
Angela.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, and that's where this becomes a little bit of a problematic piece of legislation, aside from other things. But is that they're specifically laying out exactly who they want to see on the tag versus what traditionally is SBCC's role, where we create tags for each of the codes. This is a tag for one specific item. Basically, it's creating a very individualized tag just to look at elevator hoistway ventilation and accessibility protections or requirements, which again, I'm not even sure that some of those, as far as like the visibility, the two-way visual emergency communication devices, things like that, those aren't Washington state issues as far as I know. A lot of those may come out of accessibility requirements, which could violate other issues at a federal fair housing, whatever type of thing. So, I mean, that's questionable in my opinion. But I guess it's not telling us we have to change them. It says you have to consider them, I guess. So, yeah.
Go ahead, Todd.
Yeah, the more, and this did pop up on the last the last substitute. I think it's okay. I think I understand what they're trying to do. It is their prerogative to tell us. I think they looked for a place to house this in multiple agencies, and in the end, it made sense to house it under rulemaking for the codes. If you listen to Senator Solomon yesterday in House Local Government, he really emphasized this last paragraph that seemed like he recognized this was harmonization with the national standards, which is something we don't normally do, but does make sense within our rulemaking authority. So I think he wanted a group that represented Washington and could really coordinate with national efforts in other states that are doing this, so that including that cost benefit piece, really emphasizing that to make sure that it is competitive, that we don't do something radically different than another state. I think the feedback he's getting seems to, and this is all just me listening to the committee, I don't have any inside information, seems to be that U.S. manufacturers aren't necessarily targeting this, and one state might not be enough to really, especially if we do something radically different, it's not enough to really kind of incentivize the industry to go do this. And right now, they think some of it would have to come from Europe, but the hope would be that there'd be U.S. manufacturing of these. I said a lot just by that you could all get from just listening to the thing I listened to yesterday. Interpret yourself. So, thank you.
Oh, we appreciate your cliff notes.
There you go. They're probably longer than the original.
And just one more thing, I also don't interpret this as asking us to adopt a different standard than what LNI is already adopting. They do use the word standards in a couple places, but by my reading, I think the intent on this one is to adopt provisions in the building code language. And if LNI were to adopt any other standards, we would just want to make sure we harmonize that within the building code.
Yeah, go ahead, Todd.
Yeah, and Justin, you've had the most interaction with LNI, and I don't know that we see anyone on here right now, but is part of it that LNI maybe has expressed that they should not be doing the rulemaking on this when they're more of the enforcement on it? Is that an interpretation? Same with electrical code? Like they want something to tell them what to do in the building code, but then they would enforce it per the electrical code.
As far as the elevator stuff goes, LNI has an elevator program that adopts standards, does inspections on elevators, and then there's the building code language, which also addresses, conveyances. And so the way I'm looking at it is that they want to maintain that they adopt standards and have their elevator program. But when we are looking at the building code language itself, Angela mentioned the amendment we have for stretcher car elevators, and in the conversations I've had, the current standard adopted by L&I does allow for elevator cars that are smaller than stretcher car size to be installed, but the building code then kind of trumps that and requires the larger elevator car. And so, as such, that amendment doesn't affect any standard language that is adopted by L&I. It's just a building code requirement. And so they're looking, as my interpretation, to let SBCC make amendments within the building code, and then the standard development and adoption will still happen within L&I.
Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of had that thought too. Maybe L&I was starting to try and want to offload some of that onto the SBCC, but maybe that's just not the case.
I didn't get any indication from anybody that that's what is maybe the trend occurring, but when I moved to Washington and heard that electrical wasn't part of the building code council, I was a little surprised, but not so surprised. Where I moved from, the plumbing code was outside of the state adoptions, and so it was a little bit different. So.
All right. Any further thoughts on this? All right, it seems probably that we can kind of let it play out and see what it brings us. Is that everybody's thoughts at this point on that? Okay. Sounds good. Anything else legislatively that we need to talk about?
No, I mean, just as always, hearings and things like that can move fast. And so if anything pops up on the schedule, you can expect some communication, but I'm not anticipating anything huge, especially with the majority of our bills of concern not being alive anymore.
Mm-hmm. All right, how about other business then?
None from me.
Okay. Anybody else? Council or otherwise that wants to bring anything up? All right, well, it's been fun. We'll do this again next week. Unless anything drastic happens, and then we'll do it sooner. So I guess I'll see most of y'all tomorrow.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, let's adjourn.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.